Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to the library. Welcome back to another video. Sorry I'm not centered in this, but the sun is really bad, so I'm gonna have to stand right here. Anyway, I'm going to do the quarter year book crisis tag. What's it called? Quarter year crisis book tag. I found this on the channel of Books with Brittany. I know some other people have done this tag. It's not Brittany's tag, but that's where I first saw it. So I'll put all the questions down below if you want to see them. But this is a tag for the first 3 months of the year. I know it's almost all the way through April, so it's almost 4 months, but I'm gonna do just the first 3 months because there's like, mid-year wrap-ups and, end of year wrap-ups and things. So this is kind of like a quarter year wrap-up somewhat. So I'm gonna go through the questions and talk about the books I've been reading. So the first question is, how many books have you read so far? And in just January, February, March, I read 13 books, which I was very, very proud of because I didn't really have any goals, but once I was realizing that I could read at least 4 books a month, that's become my goal, but obviously I did one more than that, so that was exciting. Number 2 is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2022 favorite? If not, was your favorite book that you read that was not quite 5 stars? So I've got 3 5-star books, and they're all 3 not just favorites of 2022, but possibly of all time ever. And those are Vicious by V.E. Schwab and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. These 2 books are, of course, in a series. I've talked about them a lot on the channel, but they are absolutely amazing. I loved them. They are now my all-time favorites. They definitely lived up to the hype. If anything, they surpassed the hype, which was exciting. And then the other book that I finished this year was Hollowpox, that I gave 5 stars to. I read the first 2 in the Morgan Crow series back at the end of 2021, but this one I did read in 2022, and it is definitely an all-time favorite. The series, this Morgan Crow series, oh my goodness, I love it so much. Nevermore, there we go, that's what it's called. The Nevermore series is so amazing. The 4th book comes out, I believe, in October. It's called Silverborn, and I'll be reading it, and I'm gonna assume that I will also give it 5 stars. Okay, question number 3 is, have you had any 1-star books or least favorite books of the year? Well, I did DNF 3 books during the first quarter of the year, and that is Blackwing by maybe Ed McDonald. I honestly can't remember. It'll be over here. Firekeeper's Daughter. I honestly cannot tell you who wrote that one, but that was, well, I guess I should say why. Blackwing was just boring and there was nothing exciting about it. It was just a fantasy and there was just nothing to keep me going. Firekeeper's Daughter was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought this book was going to be a mystery, but it was very much just realistic fiction with maybe a hint of mystery, but I read like a third of it and there wasn't much mystery yet, so I didn't care. And then finally I DNF'd House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I did not care about anything that was happening in it, and I hate her writing style, so I DNF'd that one. And then the worst book I read that I did actually finish was Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I was sad because it was supposed to be a Hades Persephone romance retelling thing. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was like plot at the beginning, then just tons of like smutty romance in the middle, and then plot at the end, and it just didn't make much sense, and I don't know, it was not very good. So yeah, I only gave that one 2 stars, and it was probably the worst book I read this year. Number 4 is, what is your most read genre so far? To no one's surprise, it's fantasy. 8 out of the 13 books I read were fantasy. Then I also read 1 romance, 1 thriller, 1 horror, 1 sci-fi, and 1 kind of like supernatural mystery thing. Number 5 is a book that surprised you. A book that surprised me. I would say, well, I mean, we already talked about Vicious and Vengeful, so I won't say those again, but those did surprise me because they lived up to the hype. Of course, I mean, I just mentioned Neon Gods, but it was way not as good as I thought it was going to be, so that surprised me in how bad it was. I would say Ruthless Gods by, what's her name, Emily A. Duncan. It's the sequel to Wicked Saints. That one surprised me because of because it let me down also. So all these are like surprising because they're bad mostly. That one let me down. I did not expect it to be, I expected it to be as good as the first one and like continue on from there, especially with the world building and all these different types of like ways to use magic that she introduced in Wicked Saints. And it was just so silly. Like I didn't understand why the characters were doing any of the things that they were doing. The logic just didn't make sense in that book. I was also somewhat disappointed in Redemptor by Jordan Afueko because it was not as good as the first one, as Raybearer. So I would say that was somewhat of a surprise as well, because I just honestly thought the book would be more focused on a certain thing that was going to happen, because that's where the first book leaves off. So you know what's going to kind of happen in the second one, but it doesn't wind up happening until maybe the last 50 pages of the book, and it's very rushed. So I was surprised that most of the book was other stuff that I didn't care about as much. Number 6 is a book that's come out in 2022 already that you haven't read yet. So I don't read too many new releases, but one that has come out that I definitely want to read, that is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. It's a young adult sort of, I think, like horror, mystery, fantasy type thing. Maybe not so much horror. I don't think it's super scary. But anyway, I will read anything that V.E. Schwab writes at this point, and so, well, except for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because I just hear too many mixed things and it just doesn't sound good to me and I don't think I would like it. But anyway, I will read it because I loved Vicious and Vengeful so much, and I loved A Darker Shade of Magic, not the sequels, but I will definitely give this one a try. Oh, and then there was another one, Bad Gods by Gay Sibold? Sibold? I'm not sure how you say her name. But anyway, this was something that I hear talked about on BookTube all the time. I'm not even sure if it's a graphic novel. Is it a graphic novel? I think it might be. I'll need to look it up. I think it might be. But it's definitely about, like, you know, mythology, but I think it's supposed to be funny but kind of dark, and I think it's adult. I don't really know anything about it, obviously, but I remember hearing that it's really good and it's on my list to read as well, and it came out in 2022. Okay, number 7 is one goal you made that you're succeeding at. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't really make any goals really at all for the year, but I've realized that I could read at least 4 books a month, and I have definitely succeeded at that goal and even surpassed it. So I am very happy with that. And this summer I'll be able to read even more because I'll be out of school and the baby will be, well, you know, he's not even a baby anymore. The toddler will be at daycare, and so I will be able to have lots of time to read. So the next question is one goal that you've made that you need to focus on. Well, I didn't make any goals, but as far as things I really do need to focus on, one is organizing my books. I desperately need to organize my books, and I'm gonna do that this summer, probably in a vlog, because my shelves are a hot mess, and not even just the shelves, there's just books like stacked everywhere in our house, in our extra bedroom, on the kitchen counter, various places like that. So I will definitely be organizing. And then my other goal is, choosing books that I don't DNF, because I have DNF several books now, well, 3 in the first quarter, but more even since then. So I think I need to really get better at deciding what books I like. You would think by now I would know my reading taste, but I'm still learning, apparently. And the last question is new to you booktubers, bookstagrammers, BookTokers for 2022 that you would recommend. So I don't do anything except BookTube, so I don't know about any of the other ones of those, but I've only discovered 3 new booktubers, and they're not, like, only one is somebody you probably never heard of. One is Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. A lot of you probably already know his channel, but he does a lot of middle grade, and he's British, so I very much like his accent. And now that I've discovered I also like middle grade, and also he's really funny. He's just super entertaining. I'd pretty much watch him doing anything. His vlogs are hysterical, and just his, I don't know, his ideas that he has for how to do like book hauls, like he has to do it before his coffee gets cold, or he has to do so many push-ups for every book he buys, you know, or whatever. Like, I don't know, his ideas are really unique, and I like that. I also discovered, and I know this is gonna be like crazy, but I just discovered Books and Lala, which I know is like, she's one of the most popular booktubers ever, and she's been around for years, but her name's Kayla, right? Yeah, Kayla. She is amazing, and I like all of her content as well. She reads a lot of books, so I don't like all the types of books that she does, but she's just fun to watch. And then I also discovered this girl named Amber. It's literally, her channel is Books of Amber, and I found her because she agreed with me on a book I read. Like, I think it was something that I DNF'd, or maybe it was House of Earth and Blood, actually. It might have been. But anyway, you know how sometimes you want to DNF a book and you try to justify it by finding another booktuber who agrees with you. So that's what I did, and I found her for whatever book it was I was DNFing, and I realized that I have a lot of similar opinions to her. So she's a pretty small channel so far, but I really agree with most of her content. She's just very like straightforward, and I really like it. So that's my quarter year kind of wrap up. Let me know in the comments down below what books that you guys have read and enjoyed so far in the first quarter of the year, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.